I got my Labubu in hand because this just might be the end. Well, hello everybody, Anthony here. Welcome back to another conclusive episode of the Single Parents Podcast. This is the podcast for anybody whose life may have turned out a little less than traditional. Hope you all are doing well on this lovely summer day. I know a lot of people are getting ready for back to school, or they're already in that back to school mode. And so wherever you kind of fall, I mean, I guess technically if you have like younger kids, if you have older kids who are old and grown and you're not really doing the whole back to school thing anymore, then I hope you're just kicking it and chilling it and hope you're doing fantastic. But for those of us who are in back to school mode, I hope we're thriving. I hope we're not just surviving. I know this time of year is always so chaotic and financially stressful sometimes, and it just can be a lot, right? It could just be a lot. So I hope even this show can be a source of just a little exhale for you. If you are in the middle of a whole bunch of craziness, maybe you just need to pause, take a breath. You're good. You're doing the things. You're all right. You're kicking butt. Hope you remember that. But for us on the SPP, we're just going to kind of jump into it today. I don't even know how long this episode's going to be. I'm going to try not to over edit this episode because I just want us to have a little chat, have a little family conversation before we move forward as a show with some big things. But before we get into all that yappity yap, a few things I'd just like to ask you to do. First things first, maybe consider subscribing to the pod. Actually, no. Okay, hold on. I'm going to say don't maybe consider subscribing to the podcast. You're going to want to subscribe to the podcast. Like, I can't make you do anything. We're all adults here. We all have free will. We're just, I'm not your boss, right? Not your daddy. But I would almost beg you to subscribe to the podcast because the stuff we got coming up, baby, it's good. It's juicy. You're not going to want to miss it. You're not going to want to miss out. So if anything that I say in these kind of call to actions that I'm going through, I think subscribing is going to be the number one thing. Subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss what we have coming up when it comes to really the future of the show. And we'll talk more about that here in a few minutes. So ring the bells, click the buttons, turn on notifications, do all the things. Second, though, make sure that you just think about the fact that as the show is changing, as it's ending in some ways and beginning in a lot of other ways, that this is the perfect opportunity to maybe consider inviting people to check out the show, letting them know that we have this community here, we have this resource, we have this place where single parents or parents in general or just people who are living non-traditional lives can come together and we can just celebrate one another and we can encourage each other and we can thrive together. I know there's a lot of people who might benefit from being a part of something like this, so spread the word. And then third things third, if you feel so inclined to do so, maybe consider rating the podcast 5 stars, highest rating possible on your favorite platform. So going forward, those algorithms know that the show is legit and it'll pass it along to more people. This episode is brought to you by me at Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development. Single parents, are you looking to take control of your career and financial future? Well, my finance firm is currently recruiting new agents with a business model similar to real estate. Here's how it works. Let me break it down. First, we'll get you connected with our brokerage, and then we'll help you get fully licensed to work in the financial industry. We fully train you to go out and help clients reach their financial goals and dreams. And something pretty awesome is that no past experience in this industry is required. We're just looking for people who are ready to make an amazing change right now, because I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of people out there who are a little anxious when it comes to money and the economy and tariffs and 401ks and retirement. And we just, as a firm, we're growing, we're expanding at a crazy rate because there's so many people out there who legit just need some good people to help them. And maybe one of those good people could be you. Reach out and let me know if you might be interested in learning more. I'd love to sit down and talk with you to see if this might be a good fit for you and your family. Yes, that's Anthony Crosby, Talent Acquisition and Development, where change starts now. So as I kind of teased a little bit, this episode is just really meant to put a bow, to put a little conclusion on a couple of things when it comes to the show. The first thing that we're going to put a bow on is what I've been calling Hot Entrepreneur Summer. So basically for the last several months, and really if you think about it all year here on the SPP in some ways, we've really been looking at what it looks like for us as single parents to step into business ventures, to become entrepreneurs, to become leaders, to become content creators, to really do the things that we need to do to put our voice out there, to put our stamp on the world, to make it known that single parents can be bosses and are fantastic leaders and innovators and can be wonderful business owners and all the things, because we just deal with so much that just naturally coincide with thriving in the business and entrepreneurial world. Things like we have a lot of patience, right? We have a lot of multitasking skills. We have the ability to think 3 steps forward because that's what we have to do in life just to survive. And we talked about on the show many times. You can go back and listen to the past episodes and kind of get the breakdown on all of that. But we've really been encouraging each other. I've really been encouraging you as the listener to maybe consider what that looks like. If you really have had a passion for something, you've really had an itch to start a business or to step into something huge, I just really wanted you all to take away from that season feeling empowered to do so, feeling encouraged to do so, at least just maybe even curious about what that might look like for your own life. And so I just truly hope that that season was beneficial for you, and maybe even somebody out there decided to take that step, because as we interviewed business owners and talked to other entrepreneurs and just kind of broke all the reality of what that might look like down, hopefully somebody was inspired to take that leap. So it's been fun. It's been encouraging for me because as me, when it comes to me and myself, I've always been the entrepreneurial type. I've always been the type of person who just wanted to take big swings and make something himself, and not always be tied to the corporate world and the having bosses and having to ask for paid time off when you need to go do something and having to clock in and clock out. Like I have one of those jobs as of right now, and I'm very thankful for it. I'm not complaining because it pays the bills. It's nice to have a quote unquote guaranteed paycheck every other week. But at the end of the day, I just know that there's things that I want to do. There's things that I want to invest a lot of my time in to put back out into the world. A lot of it has centered around this podcast and what I want to do with this show and this brand. And so I've been working very hard to do that, but it's been encouraging just to kind of think through my why, think through my my motivations for why I want to make that happen. I guess to be super transparent, though, there was a time a couple of weeks ago, I was just having one of those pity party days, one of those, woe is me, this is so much work, maybe I should just ditch all these side ventures and these hustles and these business plans and these hopes and dreams, and I should just really hone in and focus on my corporate job and just put my nose to the grindstone and kick butt there and climb the corporate ladder, because I'm doing well at that job, and I just had my annual review at the job and I scored the highest performance-wise out of anybody on my team, so I can find success there. So I was like, maybe I should just do that. I'll just become a suit and tie daddy and, become a master of Microsoft Teams and business trips and corporate jargon and blah, 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 because doing all this other stuff for myself is just so hard and time-consuming, and I'll just all the woe is me stuff, right? So I went through that a couple of weeks ago, and I thought about just actually doing that and stepping out of all this other stuff. But I kind of got over that pretty quick. I talked to some friends. I really just kind of, I went on a walk. I kind of just decompressed a little bit and just realized that no, like for me, for what I'm truly feel like I'm built for and called to do, it is just building something cool that I know I can share with a lot of people out there that maybe even people I haven't even met yet. Because what's been cool about what I've been building, this show in particular, is that I've already seen the fruits, even it might be small compared to other podcasts and other content creators out there. But I've already been able to see the fruit of the show that I've been working on for several years now, kind of come into fruition. So I've had people email me and tell me how much the show has encouraged them and helped them and made them realize that they're not alone. We formed good friendships and we had great guests on the show and great voices on the show. People I never would have met if it weren't for this show, that I'm super thankful that I've had the opportunity to meet. And so the perspective of like, yes, has it been a lot of work? Has it been a lot of late nights? Has it cost money? Has it taken up so much time? Yes. But even in small ways, I've seen the fruit of all this hard work, and I've been thankful for it. And that just really motivates me to really push forward and go forward, because you just never know who you're going to reach, who you're going to impact, who's going to check out your stuff. And it doesn't even need to be millions of people. It's just finding the right people who stuff like this needs to reach and who you need to impact. And so I've been super thankful for that. And so that's been Hot Entrepreneur Summer. But really, when it comes to this whole conclusion stuff, in a certain way, this is going to get ready to also conclude and bring to an end a certain era of the Single Parents Podcast. Yes, that's right. This is me announcing that in a particular way, the Single Parents Podcast is coming to an end. So let's break this down. So I actually went back and I just did kind of a stroll down memory lane through some of my social media stuff. And I actually discovered that I started this show. I didn't even realize it's been this long, but I actually technically started this show back in like spring of 2021. I was living in a different place. I just had some cheap mics. I really didn't know much of what I was doing. I just was like, hey, I'm a single dad. And to be super honest, super candid, I don't think I even really shared this much, but a lot of my motivation for starting the show was just because I was having some dating frustrations at the time in particular. And so I was like, screw it. I'm going to be single forever. Screw dating, screw women. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start a podcast and I'm just going to talk about being a single dad, because I'm just going to obviously be that forever. So super dramatic back in 2021, I guess. I guess a lot of us probably were, because 2020 was a very chaotic year. So I'm sure all of our emotions were high back at the beginning of the 2020s. But so I started the show back in 2021, and I didn't do it consistently over these past 4 years. Like, I would do it for a little while, then because I am a real life dad, a real life single dad, stuff with kids and career changes and all the things would pop up. So I would do it for a little while, stop, and then I would kind of rebrand it, reinvent it a little bit. And so I kind of really relaunched it back either like a year or two ago, when I kind of just said, all right, like I'm just kind of been doing this here and there, but let me just see what it looks like to put out episodes at least semi-consistently. So I really focused on doing that, like I said, back in 2023, 2024 maybe. And so now that's where this round of 60 plus episodes have come from. And it's been really cool because it's been in this last couple of years where a lot of those new relationships and emails and encouragements have really come from. So it's been fantastic to see what these last couple of years have brought in particular. But as I headed into the summer, doing a lot of thinking about the show, thinking about what it is and how it's structured and kind of where my desires for it land and what my vision for the future of the show looks like, I ultimately realized that the way that I was kind of going about doing the show, producing the show, and formatting the show just really wasn't cohesive to what I truly think the best version of the show can be. So I'm going to kind of break that down a little bit now, because going forward in the future iteration of the show, we're not really going to probably have a whole lot of time or wiggle room to talk about some of these deep dive behind the scenes stuff, because we're gonna like the show's gonna be different. I guess I'll just say that the show is gonna be very different going forward, in my opinion, for good reasons and in good ways. But when it comes to me just kind of looking at you all, if you're watching the video version of the show, just talking to you, that version or this version of the shows, we're not really going to be doing much of that anymore, so we can just kind of get deep right now for a second. So ultimately what I realized, and this kind of plays into what I just said, was that the current version of this show just involved a lot of me doing this, right? Me looking at a camera, just me talking into a mic, talking to you all, talking to the audience, talking to the community. And essentially, practically, that's just what the show had to be, because for 80% of the time or 70% of the time, it's just me. Like, I would have guests, I had recurring guests, and I've had, people host the show by themselves, and I've done interviews with people. Obviously, a lot of that happened throughout Hot Entrepreneur Summer, and that was cool and that was good. But when I didn't have a guest, or when I just had a particular thing I wanted to talk about, it would just be me by myself. And I ultimately realized that this format of a show, I think, works really well for certain podcasts, for certain demographics, because there are certain shows that really thrive out of a host sitting down and just talking, and the listener really being attentive and maybe taking down notes, or just really being focused on what the one person is saying. And I listen to shows like that, and I think those shows are really good. But when I thought about the audience of this show, who our demographic is, who was most likely to listen to a show like this, I realized that if we're titling the show Single Parents Podcast, and our demographic is single parents or just people who are just living these wild, all over the place lives, might be kind of hard for somebody to sit and to just attentively listen to me talk about some very direct things, or listen to me interview somebody about some very direct things for 40 minutes to an hour. Because odds are the people who listen to the show have kids, and those kids have activities and school and pick up and drop off, and there's work and grocery shopping, and you come home and you got to clean and cook dinner and what have you. And so for a lot of our audience, they're listening to the show on the move, on the go, so they're checking it out when they can, or listening to part of the show when they can. And so their focus just might be on other things, and that's fine. There's great podcasts that I listen to where I'm cleaning and I just need to put something in my earbuds to play while I'm cleaning. So as I'm doing dishes or whatever, I'm also listening. But as I'm cleaning, I might be focused on something else, so I might not catch every word of the show. But the show's built in a way to where you don't need to catch every word of it in order to fully get the most out of the show and enjoy it. So I realized, okay, for the demographic of people who we're looking to reach, it would be better to structure a show that's a lot less of me talking to the audience, and a lot more of the audience being, or at least feeling like they're a part of the conversation, that they're actually a part of the episode, that they're a part of like a real community. So the vibe of the show is going from me like basically lecturing like I'm doing now, to somebody listening in and feeling like they're hanging out with some friends and we're talking about whatever, but it's just like, oh yeah, like, how like maybe you're on the phone with the friend, or on the phone with the group of friends, and you're talking to them and listening to them, but you're also doing other stuff, and like it's just like they're there, but you didn't call them for a specific reason. You just call them to have them on the phone while you're driving or something like that. Like, I think that might be the most beneficial for our audience, and it actually just might be the most fun for even me, because like I love like engaging and not always feeling like we're sitting down and we're getting serious and we're talking about all these things. Like a lot of these things we talk about on the show are important, and I'm glad we talked about them, and they're great things and things that I truly believe have encouraged a lot of people. But a big part of the show is to just have some fun and celebrate us as single parents, and lift us up and remind us that life isn't always so doom and gloom and sad music and sad vibes, that there's a lot of things to laugh and smile about and have a good time about. And so like that's the vibes I really, really, really want to set on the show. But for me to set those vibes, for the show to become that, some big changes just need to be made. Some big additions just need to be made for the show. And I'm not going to get too much into it, spoil too much. You're just going to have to, like I said, subscribe. You're just going to have to stick around. But coming early September, you're going to see that the show is going to take in my opinion, a shift for the better. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. I'm super excited for it. I've been planning and working on stuff for this last month, and will for the next couple of weeks to get ready for it. But some big changes are coming. And it's been, I guess, bittersweet thinking about that reality, because the changes that are coming mean that this version of the show that I've been doing for 4 years now, granted not consistently, but still 4 years now, is coming to an end. And I guess I could just say like a big portion of the show is being handed off, and it's basically just not going to just be me. It's not just going to be me running the ship. And when you have a baby, I know, like we have kids. I have real babies. Okay, this is just metaphoric, symbolic, an analogy. I don't know, but like I have real babies. But for this show, being my content baby for the last 4 years, knowing that it's growing up and it's evolving, and it's not just going to be me anymore. It's, like I said, bittersweet, because it's been really cool to sit down almost every single week with you all and just have this be my place, my safe place, where I can share my thoughts and share my experiences, and just have like a real comfortable, safe place where I feel like I can just really express myself. Like I'll honestly sometimes utilize this podcast as like, I don't know, like a diary almost, right? Like this is just my therapeutic place that no matter what happens throughout the week, I can come and I can sit with you all and I can just let it all out. And odds are the person or the people who are listening to the things I'm letting out are people who can relate and who can nod their head and be like, yep, you're not alone in that. I get where you're coming from. I totally understand. And that's just been nice. And I just appreciate you all going on this journey with me for the last 4 years. And it means a lot. It really does mean a lot. And so like that's what I mean when I mean it's bittersweet, because yes, the show, to be very clear, just in case I haven't made it clear, the show itself is not ending. The Single Parents Podcast is going forward, but this version of the show, this era of the show that I've been doing for 4 years is coming to an end. And when you see your kids grow up, oh, I just realized this. Maybe that's why I'm getting kind of emotional right now, because this also kind of relates and mirrors to my own real life kids right now. But like, as you see your kids grow up and get older, my oldest daughter's turning 10 in a couple of weeks. You just realize that they ultimately end up forming their own identities, and it's not just so much them latching on to you and using you for their identity. Like once your kids grow up, they have their own personalities and they take on their own lives, and it might look different than maybe how you envisioned for them in the beginning, but that's growth, right? That's life. That's what living things do. They grow and they change and they become individuals. And that's bittersweet, right? That's bittersweet. Did you know that at Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, not only are we recruiting the next top talent in the financial service industry to come in, get licensed and trained to help a lot of people and make a pretty good living doing it, we also connect individuals and families with licensed financial strategists who love nothing more than sitting down with people and helping them accomplish and succeed in their financial goals and dreams. Thinking about retirement? Do you think it's possible you could leave generational wealth to your children? Speaking of your children, do you know if they're properly protected if something unfortunate were to happen to you? Single parents out there, where are your kids gonna go? Who are they gonna be placed with if something dire does come your way? We sit down, we help break it all down, we come up with solutions that are best for you and your family. And the amazing part about this whole thing, our appointments are 100% free. Yep, all you gotta do is get in touch with us and we'll put you in contact with the financial strategist who will make sure that everything is properly planned out for your financial future for free. We also have an amazing referral program for professionals and business owners who might be looking to add an additional revenue stream to their portfolio. Yes, we're talking about real estate agents, mortgage brokers, property managers, CPAs, and tax professionals. This might be an easy way for you to add additional revenue to your business model. Reach out to us one more time. That's Anthony Crosby Talent Acquisition and Development, where change starts now. But for at least this last episode, I still have a little bit of control. I still have the mic. I still have the camera. I still have it's still just me. So I'm gonna go out swinging. I'm gonna go out with a bang. I'm gonna actually just go out kind of checking off a few things from my list that I just wanted to make sure that I did. So the first thing is to wrap up this era of the show. I have been wanting to get a Labubu, so I went and stole my daughter's Labubu. I didn't actually go get a Labubu, but my daughter had one, and she left it here for when she went to her mom's house. So this is going to be mine because I hear these are in fashion right now. If you're watching or not watching the video version of this, just the audio version, I have a Labubu with a rainbow face and teeth, and it's like light blue. So this is the Labubu. So let's see if I seem cooler when I put this on. Yeah. Okay. How's that? Yeah, there you go. Fashion icon right there. Let's see if we could tuck this in right now. There we go. Now we're wrapping up the show in style, baby. Okay. So we got the Labubu. What's also been trending? I got crumble cookie. I had my first crumble cookie. I've been wanting to do that and talk about that on the show for a long time, so I finally did it. And it was way too sweet for me. I'm not a big dessert person in general. Like I gotta be in the mood. So there's that, but this was just too sweet. I'd rather have some popcorn. So that's my crumble cookie review. What else? I watched K-pop Demon Hunter. That was pretty cool. Been wanting to watch more movies with my daughters. They sat me down. Well, they've watched the movie like 15 times already without me. So they finally sat me down. They made me watch it. It was legit. I give it 2 thumbs up. The music's really, really good. I had heard the songs many times before I watched the movie because of my daughters. They would tell me to play them in the car. So I already knew the show. So I already knew the songs before I actually watched the film. So that was kind of whatever, but the movie was good. What else? I just personally had a great summer. I had a fantastic summer doing a lot of cool things with friends and building up the getting ready for the changes for the podcast, and I checked off so many things from my list that I wanted to do. Like I went on that cruise. We did an episode about that. I've did maybe too many drinking activities that I wanted to do with friends. Those were fun, but as you get older, those can get a little rough the following days after the event. The only thing I really didn't do is I didn't get to go to a wedding this summer. And I really wanted to go to a wedding because, man, I love weddings and I love partying and I love a good reception. And the last wedding I went to was lame because I went with this lame girl, this lame date, worst wedding date ever, total stick in the mud, buzzkill. Like, you know how you want to vibe and you want to have a good time, but you're with somebody who's not matching those vibes, and so it brings you down. So like, even though you want to get out and you want to go crazy, you're with somebody and that person doesn't really know a whole lot of other people, so you can't be like, okay, you go talk to your friends, I'm gonna go over here. Like, they're kind of there with you, and so you kind of just have to stick with them, and it kind of ruined that. Like, that was my last wedding experience. So I've been really wanting to go to another wedding and really just make up for lost time, but I didn't have anybody getting married this year, so that stunk. I thought about crashing a wedding, thought about that. I guess there's still time, right? There's still time. And the last thing that I really just wanted to do before this era of the show concludes, I really wanted to bring up and really invest in, even outside of working on the show, was the fact that I've been spending a good amount of time in like single parent Facebook groups, because I think they're a really good place for me to be, especially if I want to be like a single parent based a content creator, because that's just a really good place where I can see a lot of the things that people are going through and kind of hear what people's experiences are that are in this demographic, and hear their highs and hear their lows. And honestly, it's a great like motivator for me to put in a lot of work into this and to make the changes going forward into the future, because every time I read a post from somebody in one of those groups who's really going through it, I remember that, okay, that person in particular is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because that person is somebody who really I know could benefit from being a part of a community like this. And so it's great for me. It's great for me to remember that. And I'm just going to wrap up our last episode together one-on-one by reading one of these posts that I saw from a single mom in one of those groups. She says, "As I've struggled with the end of a 10-year relationship/marriage and watching them move on, and me taking care of so much lately, the stress of a full-time job, dealing with trying to heal physically, mentally, and emotionally, and trying to keep up with the house and a 7-year-old boy, any positive reminders that I can get as a single mom are always needed. I'm not perfect in any means, but this end will not destroy me like I have let things destroy me in the past. I want nothing but healing and thriving over here, so any positivity you may have, please send it my way." Nothing would make me happier than if somebody who's just a listener of the show, not just me or somebody else who works on the show, but an actual listener of the show, saw a post like that from somebody else and immediately thought, I need to send her, that mom, a link to the SPP so she can check it out. Because if she wants positivity, encouragement, community, involvement, fun, the ability to relate to other people who get her, the first thing that listener would think of would be to send her the link to this podcast. If that happens, if that can continue to happen, then success. Like all the business stuff, the financial stuff that might come from having a podcast, cool. But for me, a true success, and why I'm so excited to close the book on this version of the show and step into opening the next book of the next version of the show, is because I would love nothing more for people to feel so comfortable and excited to share something like this with a mom like that. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. And that's why this era of the SPP has to come to an end, because for us to build this to something big, to reach moms like that, changes need to be made, and changes are going to be made. But in my opinion, though, it's all going to be for the better. So make sure you're subscribed one more time. Just one more reminder to do that, because the beginning of September is going to be time to party with the new version of the Single Parents Podcast. Just a heads up though, I guess a little producer's note. Just know that the tone and the style and the content of this current version of the show is going to be very different from this new upcoming version of the show. They're really, honestly, they're really going to feel like two different types of shows. So this one has been just, very, very almost tame, very, I guess you could say, always consistently family friendly. The next version of the show might be a little unhinged, right? We're probably going to be utilizing that 18 plus and up setting when we distribute the podcast. So just be aware of that. We're going to talk about some real stuff. We're just going to let stuff fly. But ultimately it's because authenticity and community are big themes for us going forward with the new version of the show. So we want to build community, we want people to come in, but we also just want to be truly authentic. Like, we want to be ourselves and just really get into the nitty-gritty of living a life that's far from traditional. And sometimes you gotta sometimes those things aren't always so PG, aren't so squeaky clean. Sometimes our authentic selves doesn't mean we're always going to use the most family friendly language or talk about the most family friendly topics, but authenticity, right? Single parent life isn't always so squeaking clean in Disney Channel, so we're just gonna reflect that, is what we believe. So just a little heads up, if the tone and style and the talk and what we discuss and bring up and how the show is in the future is very different from this version. This is just your warning, your heads up, because it truly is gonna be a party. But like I keep saying, it's for the better. It's so we can grow, so we can reach moms like that mom who posted that Facebook post I just read, so we can build this up into truly something amazing and keep making this show the best show for single parents on the interwebs. Let's do it, people. So, for the last time of this era of the show, seriously, thank you so much for just hanging out with me the last 4 years. It really has meant a lot. It really has been a great journey. It really has just changed my life for the better. So thank you so much. We'll see you beginning of September for the new era of the show. So one last time, my name's Anthony, and you all out there, you all just stay beautiful. We'll see you soon. Bye.